This is a View from the Bridge, official podcast of the Belfast Giants for kingdomofthedance.com. This is not it's coming right back in my ear, and that's why but let's get on with it.
Too late, you've started now, boy.
I have started, and it's live. Today's Tuesday, the 30th of August, 2022. My name's Patrick Smith. We're live on YouTube, Facebook, and on Twitter, and you can also download us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor FM, and load more of your normal podcast providers. On this week's show, the Champions Hockey League is just around the corner. We've had a successful preseason. And we're going to look at that as the lads prepare for the beginning of this season. Wins over Cardiff and Jeff Mason's Dundee. And we're joined by the Belfast Telegraph's Adam McKendry to dissect the action. Free Sports will cover the CHL. So the newest recruit to the TV broadcast family, Fields, drops by to tell us about his role with Murph and crew. And a look at the makeup of the completed roster, Giants head coach Adam Keefe will join us later in the show. If you watch us live on Facebook or on YouTube, send us your thoughts, your comments, questions, and we'll share them on screen and maybe get involved in the discussion. And I'm delighted to see Mr. McGimsey. How are you?
Not too bad, Paddy. Nice to catch up with you again. It's been a whirlwind summer, hasn't it? You go again, and for the 40 or so people that were on at the very start, it only took 15 years, but you've got an intro.
we got a video intro. What's that all about?
Big thanks to Neil Whiteside for that, of course. And let's get chatting hockey, eh?
Yeah. How's your summer been? You been good?
Yeah, it's just been all right.
See, I usually get down that way and go like the Glastonbury. There's loads of lovely festivals and stuff that happen down there. I just haven't been able to get. We went to a festival up here recently, but it's it was really good. But we usually get anyway. One lad who hasn't been larking about at any festivals is Joel Neal. How are you doing, mate?
Mate, I wish. I absolutely wish. Yeah, I think Davey put it perfectly there. Summer was sort of over in a flash for me this year, but we are successfully moved to the new house, which I'm not currently sitting in. Currently in my work office on the edge of the Holy Lands this evening, coming to you live from the lands because we're still waiting for internet, among quite a lot of other things. But we're hanging in there. A summer of great change, Patrick.
How is the new digs?
Yeah, all good. A lot of work. I've definitely underestimated how much work it is. We've been renting for forever, so suddenly this place is yours and it's empty, and you're expected to buy furniture and stuff. I'm like, I don't have any money. I just bought a house. But we're getting there bit by bit.
Well, listen, I say we've got a jam-packed show, but we start with the sad passing only a few weeks ago of Jim Gillespie. Mr. Belfast was a driving force behind what we know as the Belfast Giants, a community club with its heart in the people of the city. When the Giants were on the verge of extinction, Jim Gillespie saved our club and moulded it into the success it is now. Simply, without Jim, we wouldn't have any of the successes we've all enjoyed celebrating. Think of the great times you've had home and away with the Team Army, the league titles, playoff fun, European tours with friends around you. None of this would have been part of our lives had Jim Gillespie not provided it with our organisation. Jim and his wonderful wife Mitzi will be forever woven into the fabric of the club thanks to their actions and their generosity. As with great sadness that we mourn his passing as a fan base. Joel?
Yeah, Paddy, you have a real knack for that kind of thing. I think me and Dave are both sitting here trying to choke it back. Proper lump in my throat there, mate, to be honest. What more can you say about Mr. Belfast? It's been said time and time again, but I don't think you can say it enough. And this was with all due respect to Bob Zeller and to the genesis of the Belfast Giants. But here, as we sit today in 2022, there would not be a Belfast Giants. We wouldn't have the friendships. I wouldn't have you boys. We wouldn't have this little thing that we do every week, and we have the privilege to do. Think of the number of friendships, the number of relationships, the number of babies, the number of families, the number of problems solved, the number of times that people have been able to walk through the door and just check their problems at the door for a night and not worry about anything other than joining together and watching their team. And it's quite extraordinary that none of that exists without this one man who gave an awful lot to this city and will quite rightly be forever remembered, as Davey always says, forever in the rafters. And my heart still goes out to Small Z, to Mitzi, to John, to everybody in the entire family circle for the loss of a really great man. But as I've said before, whenever we've unfortunately lost friends through our club, one of the most beautiful things about the Belfast Giants is that as long as there's a club and as long as there's a fan base, that we get to carry their legacy and their spirit kind of lives on every time the boys take to the ice and everybody's together watching their team. So, it's farewell for now from Jim, but he'll definitely be in our thoughts as the season and many seasons kind of progress.
David.
Very difficult news to deal with when it came along. No matter how much you expect these things, it still really stings. And we were very fortunate, however many years ago, to be involved with the Hall of Fame stuff. And Jim at that time wasn't doing so well. And he rallied and he hung in there for a lot more years and he got a lot more hockey. And we were blessed to have him in our lives. I'm reading a book at the minute called Crossroads by Caleb Dahlgren. He was one of the Humboldt Broncos, and how sliding doors or crossroads change lives. And I think Jim famously talked about being at the Linfield Belfast Celtic game, and that was a pivotal moment in his life. And when he came back to Belfast and he wanted to get involved in sport, he wanted it to be in that social project, I guess, that the Belfast Giants is. It's a sports club to us now. That pit's almost gone. But without Jim and the legacy, Joel has perfectly put it, the legacy that Jim has left behind. I am a Belfast Giant. People can say that about themselves now. We don't play for the team, but we are Belfast Giants, and the hundreds of people that are sitting here, we get to sit and chat as friends every week with not just you three and sit in my bedroom with the hundreds of people that join in with us. We're all Belfast Giants because of Jim Gillespie. Yes, there is a list as long as your arm of people that have been so influential in keeping this club going, and we could rhyme them off. But Jim Gillespie stands peerless to me as Mr. Belfast. When the chips were down, that man put his hand in his deep, deep pockets and kept this thing going for us. Not because he was particularly in love with hockey, but because he was in love with Belfast and its people, and that's why we kept going. I got caught by that book earlier on. There's a couple of birthday cards that my kids give me, and one, it's to Dad, but I'm going to read it because this one's for Jim. It's, Jim, thank you for being so special in so many ways, for all the happy times we've shared together, and the way you've always been there. You've been great, and we're very lucky to have had you.
Jim Gillespie, and we send our thanks. Right, gents, let's get into the hockey. The Belfast Giants began into what was preseason only a few weeks ago. We didn't come back until preseason. We didn't decide to come back until preseason was done because obviously the team are only gelling and we've got great games round the corner competitively. Since we last chatted, the roster was filled out. We had Will Cullen join D, David Gilbert, Derek Angeli, and Tyler Soy join. Max Stewart and Kel Beatty back in. A two-way deal with MK Lightning on Sean Norris and Bobby Chamberlain. We also had the sad retirement of Darcy Murphy. Davey, your thoughts on some of those?
Yeah, the roster is shaping up nicely, and as you say, we'll go on probably to have a quick gloss over the 4 or so games that we've had. Some of the new guys that came in have looked really, really tidy, and it's been an enjoyable, haven't had no hockey since April, and quite a shortened off season, if you like, because we're going back again in early August. It came around quickly, and I didn't think I was going to be as excited about it going again, but got down to the first game in Cardiff and to see it coming back on the ice again, it's exciting. New goaltending, obviously, with Besco going, and you've rhymed off some of the names there that are going to do great things this season. It's go time now, but good to see the likes of Mac and Kel getting another shot at it, and I'm glad to see that they've got two-way deals going. Obviously, Spud Grubb are doing really good things with Kel Beatty, and obviously with signed 6 import D, there's going to be less opportunities probably for Kel this season, so get a good season under his belt in Scotland there. Mac, I don't know what the future holds there in terms of where his ice time might fit in with the club, whether he'll spend more time in England or whether he'll be here or not, but it's all good for their development, and there's other young lads have been taking a practice here and there, so that's all good. And what we've seen so far has been good.
Joel, give us a shout about Darcy Murphy as well. Obviously, a guy maybe last season didn't turn out as we all would have hoped for Darcy. He had the injury and really struggled to get the points, but he has left an indelible mark on our organisation.
The more, I guess, some of the most incredible Giants to have passed through here are the ones who spend kind of little time with us, like a short period, but their impact is felt for many years afterwards. And there's Stephen Ferguson just says it perfectly there. It cuts deep. I think everybody was kind of taken aback with that one. Besco was a tough one to take, but to lose Darcy just. It was the story. You know, he came here with Colgate, played in the Friendship Four, came back. He very, very quickly connected with the fans. He had that passion and that hunger that I always yammer on about these young college guys have. They come in with a fire in their belly. But Darcy seemed to really love Belfast and love the Belfast Giants. And that's in our league, I think it's special whenever you get someone who really connects on the level that Darcy did. And I hope you don't mind me repeating a story that I threw on Twitter whenever he retired. The last home game of last season, there was the was it? No, it wasn't. It was after the awards night, actually. Sorry. There was the full team signing out in the concourse at the arena. The boys were going out for kind of their last beers together before they broke up for the summer or whatever else. But so many turned out for the awards night that signing just went on and on and on. I think it was a good 2.5, 3 hours by the time they got done. So really at end of their night, you know, it was about an hour and a half of kind of refreshment time left by the time they got done. And I was chatting to Darcy over it was some sort of cheap joke, as you do. It's like, sure, what about that? You know, eating India last night together. I'm sure he's a rage, blah, blah, blah. He looked me in the eye and with the most sincere expression and the most sincere tone in his voice. Just he said that he absolutely loved it. It meant everything to him. And I believed him. He genuinely loved to be able to sit there. And maybe he knew that was it for him. He was able to sit there and to have those conversations and to talk about his favorite memories and sign things and say his farewells. That's someone who connected with the people of our club. And not only that, I mean, when Darcy was at his very best, winning trophies with the Giants, he was untouchable. His points production, his goal scoring ability, his feet, his flair, just untouchable. And I also think that it doesn't have the same amount of attention, but he went through it last year. He was caught with a really tough injury that just kept coming back at him. It wasn't happening for him on the ice, and I think there's a real resolve and a real mettle there that you didn't get to see because it wasn't playing out in front of us. But he faced a battle that was entirely different last season, and he came through it. And I'm really glad that he managed to get his hands on those trophies at the end of the season because he was as much as part of the team as anybody else. But I hope he keeps in touch. I'm going to miss Darcy.
We'll go back to you, Davy, just briefly. Statistically, you know, Darcy Murphy, that season where he scored just a ton of points, you know, it is a rare thing. I know that we saw on Twitter when people were looking at who was going to be signings, one guy said, "Oh no, 50 goals is you can get any player score you 50 goals," but it's not. It's a case that a player like that with a season like that is as rare as hen's teeth.
You can go back to the start of the Elite League and beyond and find me who scores 50 goals. No other Belfast Giants ever done it. Yeah, okay, we've had shortened seasons where they haven't played as many games, and you've had players like Peter Campbell maybe who might have been on target for that, you know. But in terms of the raw numbers, Darcy scored 50 goals, and you cannot take that away from him. There's no other Belfast Giant in the history of this club has ever put out those numbers in one season. So, you know, I remember, I think it was either Dundee or Fife away towards the end of that first championship season. He sniped a power play goal in the dying minutes. And those points were absolutely crucial in getting us across the line. And he scored so many big goals. And a freak injury. It can be up to somebody else to say what the injury was that happened to Darcy, but a freak injury that robbed him of his comeback season. It's heartbreaking for him. We wish him every success in the real world, as they call it, whenever you leave hockey. And as Joel says, I like to see that they appreciated the time that they got in Belfast, and they were spoiled rotten, and a lot of them happily give back. And you know, when you go out in the real world, there isn't anybody standing 11 o'clock at night in a big long queue looking for your autograph. So you know, you ride that while you can because those waves don't go forever. And you know, we're glad that he made Belfast a stop-off point, and it was a very, very successful time when he was here, and we wish him every success and I'm sure he'll be back. I'm sure there's no doubt that Belfast will be a stop-off point for Darcy Murphy in years to come for sure.
Here, here. And I know that, we've concentrated a little bit there on the retirement of Darcy Murphy, but make no doubt, as the season goes on, those new additions that we've passed over will be talked about again and again. There's a long season to come. So let's get on to those preseason games. Before we crack into it, I'm delighted that we can be joined by the Belfast Telegraph's Adam McKendry. How are you doing, Adam? Hello?
Adam McKendry is videoing on a Nokia 5110, clearly.
Can you hear us, Adam? Nope. He was in there. Are you there?
You're like
suspense. There he is.
I'm in and out. I've been having tech problems all evening. This is an absolute nightmare.
Oh, great start, Adam.
How are we, boys? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. We'll continue on as long as we can, and if it doesn't work, then sure we'll let you go. We're going to start by having a quick chat about the two games that took place on Friday the 10th of August and Saturday the 20th of August against the Cardiff Devils, the Belfast Giants. First of all, travelling to Ice Arena, Wales for what was a 3-1 victory before returning home the next night and taking a 5-1 victory over the Cardiff Devils. Davy and Adam, you were Davy, you were in Cardiff. Adam, you were at both games. I'll start with you, Davy. The overall, the game on Friday night and Saturday night, we're talking as a whole. We always go into these games to get Cardiff thinking, they're going to be a real challenger, and you want to set a mark, and it seems that that's exactly what we did.
Yeah, look, first and foremost, I know it's cliche, these games were about getting minutes in guys' legs, and we rolled the lines hard until sort of deep into the third period, where we maybe shortened the bench ever so slightly, because you have to take wins where they come along. Thought back to front were pretty good. Peyton Jones dealt with everything he had to deal with pretty well. I think, if I'm going to be really harsh, I thought he should have done better with a goal, but there was opportunities that he made brilliant saves that he had maybe no right to make. So those things balance themselves out. I thought in defence, we carried the puck, we transitioned really well, and up front we got a lot of rubber onto Bynes was in that night, wasn't he?
Yes.
So overall, I thought Cardiff Devils to me probably, and I can't remember, we were talking to Adam on McKendry, because Keefe's coming on the night about, Cardiff are so set up for special teams, and 5-on-5 they didn't over that weekend. I didn't think they really carried very much towards us. There was a couple of homework calls towards the end of the game that gave them a couple of power play opportunities against us, and we had to be very, very good on the penalty kill. But I thought overall, certainly in the Cardiff game, which was at live, we were very, very good for it being our first night out. Now, third period, jelly legs. I think I spoke to Scott Conway afterwards, and he said my legs were like jello, mate. It was wild in that third period, and you could see who had been working out over the summer and who maybe wasn't working out quite as much. But that's what those are for. It was a training exercise, and you want to come out with Ice Arena. You want to get into the habit of winning. And you want to get into the habit of winning Ice Arena in Wales, because I still go back to last season, successful as it was, those first couple of games, really early season in Cardiff, still really great to me. And I remember talking to Gary on the podcast, and he was saying, well, if we hadn't won the league, well then, yes, those would have been games would have looked back on. Because we won, we don't really look back on them, but they still hurt my feelings a wee bit, I got to be honest.
Adam, your thought of the weekend?
I was really impressed. I mean, especially the game on the Saturday. I thought they came out and they were extremely dominant compared to the Friday. The Friday, I feel like they started well on the Friday, and then sort of second period, Cardiff managed to get a foothold. But on the Saturday, it was pure dominance from sort of start to finish. And I mean, Cardiff fired off that one warning shot, but I thought just the Giants almost looked like a step ahead. It was almost like they'd had an extra week of preseason training, even though they actually hadn't. So just very impressed with how the chemistry sort of mixed in that first week. And I think speaking to Kiefer over the last couple of weeks down at practice and after games, he's been saying he really wanted to get the foundation down. And I think one of the big things was they got that foundation down in the first week. And that's massive for a team that's trying to hit the ground running, especially whenever you've got the CHL coming. But you saw areas that Keefe really wanted to work on. As Davey mentioned there, the transition through the neutral zone I thought was brilliant. I think in Gabe Bast and Will Cullen, two excellent skaters on the back end there, and I think they showed that very early on. And then it was just about trying to make sure you were playing the right way. And I don't think what Davey was saying should be lost in this, even though it's pre-season. Wins in Ice Arena Wales are big. Wins over the Cardiff Devils are big. And just getting that momentum rolling early was very important. And 2 quality starts for the netminders as well. I thought Wiss was even better than Jones was on the Saturday, and that's saying something because I thought Jones had a very, very good debut. But Wiss in that third period stood on his head. The guys, I think, sort of took their foot off the gas a little bit, and rightly so. You're 5-1 up in a pre-season game. You're trying not to get injured in your first weekend in Belfast, and so Wiss had to take on a good bit of rubber in that third period, and he was outstanding. So I think there were a lot of boxes ticked that first weekend for sure.
Joel, you looked online and social media and the likes, of course, Cardiff fans were making a lot of the fact that they were short on imports and going into this game. But pre-season is pre-season. You don't take much from the point of view of them. It's all about us and the fact that are we gelling? Are our lines gelling? Are we playing well? And from this game, we'll get on to the Dundee games in just a second. But from these 2 games in Cardiff, who are strong opposition, regardless of how short a D they are or how short of imports they are, it was a good showing.
Yeah, I think it's cultural, Paddy, honestly. Obviously the Devils had their coaching change towards the end of last year and sort of the turbulence heading into the playoffs, which obviously ended very well for them. We talked last season about how there's so many interwoven links in that Belfast Giants team. And even with the player turnover over the summer, those links still exist. There's guys who have played with each other. They've been in the same leagues. They're familiar with each other. And it's also, for me, cultural. I think one of the biggest re-signings of the summer was Adam Keefe. I think that we are extremely Adam Keefe's caliber at the Belfast Giants, and I think the culture that's instilled and the tempo and the expectation that's placed upon those players from the off is what was the difference in that first weekend. It was said by both sides that the Devils were still short imports and whatever else, but Adam said it there. I think the Belfast Giants, especially that kind of 5-1, were just utterly dominant in every facet of the ice, and also just to back that up about Jackson Whistle, I think we're seeing Whistle really hitting his prime. He's over the health issues that sort of plagued his early career after he turned pro and came to the EI. His hips are working really well. He seems to be much more comfortable whenever he's down and his movements around the crease. And I think you're starting to really see, without that kind of troubling him and sort of niggling at him, I think you're really starting to see his ability as a shot stopper. Peyton Jones, I agree. He probably will want a couple of those goals back. Sorry, talking more even about the Dundee weekend there. I think he still has the ability. I think he still has raw talent, and I think we'll see a lot from him. But Wiss especially has really surprised me and has looked really good. It's really, really hard to come into a season and try and fill the boots that were left from a team that did what last year's team did. And I'm not going to make any bold predictions this early on, but I think we've come fairly close to matching that roster from last year. Sorry,
Davey, you were going to come in there with a comment?
They were missing imports and blah blah blah. I just call them a ambulance. You play with the roster you've got in front of you. Jeff Mason came in short of imports with a load of young lads. He's had 120 minutes of preseason training. Take it for what it is. This is building towards. All it is about getting fitness and getting ice time and getting minutes and legs. And yes, it's great to win, and it's great to hear. Give me a bottle of Cardiff Tears any day of the week. Drink it all. Drink it down.
I just like to point out I have to stay neutral on this.
Yeah, of course you do, Alan. Of course you do. Yes.
You write for the Belfast Telegraph.
We actually had this discussion at the weekend, but the rules don't apply. There's no other team, mate.
If you're on this podcast talking about Belfast, writing to the Belfast Telegraph, sorry.
Go on, Adam. Justify yourself.
I had this exact conversation with someone over the weekend, and they basically made exactly the same argument that I just had to back down. Maybe the neutrality is not quite as neutral as I like to make it out to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Simon Kitchen. Yes,
yeah.
Formerly of this parish, and hopefully he'll drop in as the season goes along. Well known for his neutrality on commentary. So let's not pretend we're something we're not.
There's nothing I enjoy
here.
more in the season than seeing the comments it says about how he should be neutral as they're watching a Belfast Giants commentator on a Belfast Giants in-house webcast showing a Belfast Giants game.
What do you call the guy? I should know off the top of my head, Paddy, and this is a disgrace. He does like Fox Sport Detroit, played D for the Wings for years. Mickey Redmond.
Mick Redmond. Played for Peterborough Pete's.
Yeah, and he's like says, maybe not quite to the go on, wee man, but there's no doubt when you're listening to the game.
Thanks very much for turning up.
You're listening to Belfast people talking about a team they love and a city they love. So just be as partisan as you want.
Absolutely.
I'll take you up on that.
I'll speak to your boss. Get me your email.
let's flip it ahead to the games that we just saw in the past weekend, and it was the visit of Jeff Mason's Dundee Stars to the SSE Arena as he returns to his old stomping ground with his new team, and they got beat 9-4. Then we went over to DIA, and the Giants took a 5-3 victory there. Again, Joel, another good showing from the Giants, another strong, looks like these lines are gelling. Don't get me wrong. The actual CHL, which we'll come on to talk about, is a completely different kettle of fish. But what we're looking here maybe is also beyond the CHL going into the new season.
Yeah, and I think you look at another summer of great change for the Dundee Stars, obviously with Omar Pasha moving on to Nottingham to go upstairs. They lost players like Sebastian Bengtson, they lost Charlie Combs, Desjardins, Latinen, a lot of decent players. Connor Sills as well has gone from Dundee. So there's going to be that period of turnover. You're not going to be up to speed with a brand new head coach taking his first head coaching role, as much as I absolutely love Mason, and I think that he will make a success of himself in the coaching sphere. It's no great surprise to me that the Giants absolutely mowed them down in an absolute goal fest on that first game in Belfast. The writing was kind of on the wall from the start, right? I mean, within, 12 minutes, we had pumped 4 goals in, and the game was kind of dead from that. I think the best of Dundee is still to come. It's going to take some time. I also don't think in preseason, whenever we run up scores like that you can look too far onto the scoreboard here. I mean, it's that game was a little bit loosey-goosey, a little bit chaotic. Scott Conway in the first period of a preseason game brought himself to within assist of a Gordie Howe with a goal and a fight, which you absolutely love to see. I would like to dedicate the rest of this show to talking about Scott Conway fighting in the first period of a preseason game. It was very surprisingly vicious, that encounter in Belfast. I didn't really know why, but both of those sides really, really set into each other. And if we play them as much as we played them in previous years, I can't wait.
Adam, your thoughts on the weekend?
I was very worried for my word count on the Saturday night because I was thinking after that opening 12 minutes that I was going to have to ask for about a 2,000 word extension if that kept going. Just no control in that Saturday game. I mean, both sides just seemed to be playing very run and gun, and Dundee just flat out they just couldn't cope with the Giants, and that's courtesy of the fact that the Giants had 2 extra preseason games before Dundee played, and I think they probably caught Dundee a little bit flat-footed just because it was their first game. But equally, you've got to give credit to the Giants. Like those lines, which I imagine we are going to see continue going forward, I would reckon that they were gelling pretty well. They were really clicking. I love that second line. I think David Gillespie has fitted in seamlessly with Coops and Laker. I think there's a real chemistry there already. And I think it's really interesting, actually, that Laker has moved to centre. I know he's played there before, but obviously so much success last season on the left wing with Dogs in the middle. But to then shift him inside and put Gilbert on the left wing, which is where he said he wanted to play before the season began, that's a bold move from Keefe, because you are shifting something that worked last season and was proven to work in order to try something else. So to have that immediate payoff in a preseason game, I think is huge for him and massive for the confidence of that line going forward. Again, yeah, I'll stick with what Joel was saying. I think Peyton will probably want a couple of those goals back. Semyonov's first one and Reinhardt, I think, just a little bit of a loose rebound on the power play. But you know what? Whenever you put up 9 goals in a game, I don't think you can really complain. They just need to tighten up a wee bit defensively, and we saw that on the Sunday as well. Just, a couple of grade A chances that Dundee got, a couple one-on-ones that West had to deal with, and there was even one that was called offside where it would have been a one-on-one as well. So that's probably the biggest takeaway that I would have from the weekend, just sharpening up that wee bit more defensively. It wasn't necessarily a terrible defensive performance, I just feel like there was a little bit of disconnect. And again, that's early in the season, just trying to learn the systems.
Sharpening up those aspects is exactly what it's about, Davy, isn't it?
Sorry, Joel was just going to go there, Paddy.
No, sorry. I was going to sort of key you both up, to be honest, as well. We talked there about sort of how well the team had gelled, but we haven't mentioned just how well Derek Angeli dropped into, what was he, right wing on the top line, and just did not look out of place. And I know, Adam, we sit beside each other most weekends, and we talked about the fact that you were saying he has been in training camp, he's been here, and my phone in work is ringing, boys. Sorry, excuse that. But yeah, Angeli, Paddy or Davy, right in and just didn't skip a beat.
Yeah, and look, we went to obviously moved past Saturday night now, and we talked about Mace saying, short imports, short a lot of young lads. So it was good to test ourselves. Ice time spread about well, face-offs good in the face-off circle, I think 55, 56, 57% or something like that. And we always talk about possession being 9/10 of law. We've been a puck possession team for a lot of years, the Belfast Giants. If you've got the puck, you're hard to beat. And you talk about Laker going into the circle there as well, Adam, and you talk about chemistry there with them, but the chemistry that Laker and Coops, I guess, from last year, that's the carryover. Anybody should be able to step in that line. And don't take me. I thought Gilbert did really, really well down in Cardiff. I think we've now 2, 3, 4 good turnovers in behind the net. He'll go in there to that dirty zone as well. You know what Coops will do, reversing into the blue paint there. So Laker power played a lot or quarterbacked a lot on the power play over the weekend, because there was an insane amount of penalties for what was ultimately exhibition games, and it's good to see that although 4 exhibition games have been paired with a wee bit of spice in them, and you're going to need that over the course of the season. So all good things.
One last question just before we move on from this and let Adam go and enjoy his neutral night. Balance in the team and balance of what we saw. We've talked about, the fact that these lines seem to be gelling well, and that they seem to be, trying to work this sharpness back into their game. But, Adam, I'll start with you. Does the balance seem there on this side?
Well, I think you've definitely got your 2 scoring lines, which are Conway, Goodwin and Angeli. And it was interesting, actually, just to take on that Angeli point. I was chatting to David Goodwin at practice this morning, and I was asking him what's the difference between JJ and Derek, and he was saying, JJ was a guy who was really good at holding on to the puck. He was really good at, making sure that there was space for myself and Scott. But Derek is more of a shooter, and he'll probably go into the slot quite a bit more and try and fashion chances from there. So there is going to be that little bit of a betting in period, but I think similarly to the second line, I think just once they get more games under their belt, they'll know each other a bit more. And we know that Angeli can score. You've seen his stats in the East Coast last year. What was it? 32 goals when you include playoff games. Like, he knows the way to the net. So that line plus the Cooper, Gilbert, Lake line, I think, are your scoring lines. And then you look at a line with Steve Irie, Tyler Soy, who I haven't mentioned so far, but I think he's really kicked back into life this season. Like, for a guy who didn't have the best start last season due to events out of his control, he gets hit in that early game and just then takes a bit of time to get started, really. For him to come back in and start the way I feel he has in preseason, I've been really impressed with him. And you add Butcher into that line. I see Matthew Patton making the point there, Butcher with a great snipe off that Coops reverse feed. That was probably one of the goals, if not the goal, of preseason, just the way they put that together. So I think one of the things that you have in this team is you've got a lot of versatility in that you can move guys up. You saw Steve Irie playing on that top line in the first weekend, so you've got him to move up if you need him to start scoring. You've got Kieran Long, who scored 3 goals in 4 games from the fourth line. Someone who I think is potentially someone who you could plug and play. Colby McCauley, I thought, had a solid start as well. And Sean Norris, for a two-way guy who is only signed, I think it was the week before training camp. I thought he was superb the first 4 games for all the ice time he got. So all credit to that. So I think the forwards, there certainly is a bit of balance. You've got that grinding line on the third line that I think can really wear teams down. And look, the skating is definitely the strength of this team. I think they're going to outscale a lot of teams with a lot of puck possession, like Davey was saying.
Davey, your thoughts
on
the balance of the team from this preseason as we head into the Champions
League? Paddy, I've been an advocate for years and years and years. We used to talk every preseason. I remember going back 15 years, mate, about having a big import D core. And I love the fact that we've gone with 6 import D, good strength in our net minding. And then, you've already rhymed off the sort of the lines, the way they've been lined up there. They've had the opportunity to get a lot of ice time. They've scored a lot of goals. I like a big physical player, and we've talked about David Gillespie there going in behind the net and winning those puck battles to get goals. So, it's very early. It's very early. We've had 4 exhibition games, so I'll reserve. I'll keep my powder dry on the balance of the team for now. But I love that we've gone with the 6 import day. I'm a big fan of that.
Absolutely. Well, listen, we're going to move it on from there. Adam, thank you very much for your time. Hopefully, we'll see you again as the season goes on. You'll come and join us and give us your neutral view on the Belfast Giants.
Neutral-ish, let's say that. Thanks very much, guys. Really appreciate the invite.
Cheers, Campbell.
Have a good time, mate. Take care. Right, time to move it on, gents. And, it comes as no surprise. We've been talking about a bit. I'll put a bit of music on, actually. I've got the soundboard working. It's time for the Champions Hockey League. Turn that down a bit. The Champions Hockey League is upon us, starting this weekend with a trip to the Czech Republic, and then the Swiss come and visit us here in Belfast. This will be covered on Free Sports, and also we decided that we saw a new name to the Premier Sports family. What a man who's been on this show many times, the all-time top point scorer, top goal scorer, and every other bloody record for the Belfast Giants. Colin Shields, how are you?
There he is. Greatest of all time, man.
Hi guys, thanks for having me.
How you doing?
Tonight. Yeah, very well. How are you guys?
All good, my friend. So you're moving to television?
Yeah, they saw an earlier interview I had on your show and said that it's a logical step.
You joke, but that's how Neil Russell got the gig.
Well,
that's how Neil Russell got the gig.
So stepping zone to from you guys right to Premier Sports, but I was approached this summer about joining the team, and was more than happy to. I did a couple of games before on Premier Sports for Friendship 4, and then also some Champions League, and I'm excited to join the team and looking forward to kind of see where it goes this year.
And will this be a game by game? You'll be part of the team every game, or is it just when you're required?
Well, I've got the Giants Champions League games so far, so that's a good place to start, and a couple other ones lined up. So I think, as you saw with the games they've announced so far, just kind of see how things go, and then we'll go from there.
Are you looking forward to it? Is it something you enjoy doing? When you I know you did some Giants TV. Did you do? You might have did the Friendship 4 one year as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I did the Friendship 4, I think, 1 year when I was injured. Murph and I did that, and it was a lot of good fun. And as you said, did some Giants TV games with Simon, and I think I did one with Mace, where Mace was a play-by-play guy, which was challenging for us both. Simon, obviously, and Murph are very good at their job, and then you can bounce off those guys easy. And I'm sure Mace was just as nervous as I was. So, but no, it's exciting. It's good to get back into the game a little bit. And when I retired, I wasn't really sure where my place maybe in the game was. after retirement. And I think this is kind of a nice spot for me because I'm kind of enjoying what I'm doing away from hockey right now. And I think this is a nice way to stay connected with the game and also close to home.
As you mentioned there, enjoying your time away from hockey, and it's in your nature. We've talked about this before on the show. You're always going to keep that competitive edge. You're always going to keep pushing, and we've seen that in business. We've seen that on the golf course. So, how are things at TPF? How's everything at the gym? And also, how was your summer on the course?
Yeah, things are going well. Business is trucking along, and same as before. And we've recovered well after a tough, probably 2 years, like everybody in any business. But things are going back on the up, and we're really cruising along nicely. And the golf game's also back on the up, and the handicap's moving in the right direction. So just in time for winter. So now I can get a little bit of a break after a bit of a stressful few months on the course.
Oh, I think Joe wanted to follow up, but he's frozen. Go ahead.
Am I here? Can you hear me?
You're back again, mate. You're back.
Hello. Sorry, boys.
Yep,
That's not Hospitality Ulster Internet. Sheds, it would be remiss of us, and maybe Paddy had planned to do this, but we can't have you on the show and not invite you to say a word or two about obviously Jim Gillespie and the sad loss of the former Giants owner this summer.
Yeah, with Jim, known Jim for a long time, and their family, and very close to John and Laura over the last 10, 15 years. And Jim was a massive part of the team, and sort of saved the team from the depths. I'm sure this has been discussed, but when I first came over in 2005, he was kind of around a little bit more and didn't really, but I think as a young guy, you don't really understand kind of what's going on at that point. And it wasn't really till later in 2008 when I returned, you could kind of see how impactful he was. Of course, there's a lot of other people behind the scenes to sort of bring the Giants bring the Giants to what it should have been. I think after quite a few lean years. So the impact he had on the team, both on and off the ice, he really created a family atmosphere, and he really cared about making the guys understand what it was to be a Belfast Giant. I think that was something that was instilled in us early on, and especially when I came back, as I said, that I knew I wanted to be here for a long time, and you can really see that that family environment and the care and passion that Jim had for not only the Giants but for the community here and all the fans. And it's a real sad time for him, for the family, and but I think you can see at the game so far a couple weeks ago and also this season. I think you'll see the support and appreciation everyone has for what he did.
Yeah, so it's an amazing impact that he had on our organization and all of us in that respect. Just briefly coming back to the golf, you played the Strand course the day before me on with Barry McKenzie, Craig Peacock, and who's the
Lewis. Oh my goodness, he's a golf pro, but he's a golf pro in Scotland. Lewis, he's actually a hockey pro too.
What did you shoot?
Don't put this cup on there. Well, so we played a 4-round event, and it was Craig Peacock and myself against Barry McKenzie and Lewis. And last year at the inaugural event, Craig and I won in a sudden death playoff on the island of Arran. So that was interesting. So we won at 4 rounds. We won in the playoff, Craig and I. So this was the second round, our second year. And Craig and I went 3-0 in the first 3 obviously matches. 2 at Clandeboye, 1 at Port Stewart. And then the fourth one, we played an individual stable for competition where there's a lot of golf balls donated to the to the golf course. The boys we had a couple of nights out prior to that, and that was sort of the third day, and the boys were hurting. It was an 8 a.m. tee off time on Monday morning at Port Stewart, so there was a lot of
that Strand course took a lot of money out of me that next day when I played it. It was
it's cracking course.
It's a stunner of a course, but it takes a lot. So back to the hockey. Obviously, this weekend we have these first games in the Champions Hockey League, and you no doubt you're doing your research into these teams, and you know about the Belfast Giants. What are your thoughts coming into this weekend for the Belfast Giants, given the preseason that we've just had?
Yeah, as you guys were saying before, I think after a great preseason, a lot of new players, but I think probably more returnees than I think anyone was expecting after such a successful year last year, and a lot of guys with a lot of great personal seasons as well. I think everyone maybe thought a lot of more players would move on, but definitely lost a lot of key pieces, including Bescawani. But Adam and the rest of the staff have done a great job replacing those pieces with some other great talent. And a lot more younger players again. As you can see, the league and hockey in general is just going a bit younger, and so I think they've done a great job for that. And from what I saw and heard about the exhibition games and friendlies, we've got another great fast team, physical team, maybe a little bit more physical than last year. So I think we'll probably expect to see that going into the Champions League. I think the last time, pre-pandemic, when the Giants played there, I think you saw the physical style, kind of upset teams a little bit. So you look to probably continue with that and maybe try to match the pace of play with the other teams, but also, possibly you may not match the pace of play of some of those teams. Let me rephrase that. But also you'd be trying to use the physical play to sort of counteract that and just try and play a solid team game, because I don't think these teams are, of course, at another level. These leagues are, another level from the elite league. So I think, to try and go back and forth, run and gun with those teams, I think it wouldn't be a good idea. So I think, a smart team game, playing physical and, attention to details, especially on the defensive side of the puck, and just sort of wait for your opportunities. I don't think you can sort of, you want to go at them with the physical play, but I don't think you want to try and go back and forth in a run and gun game.
Sheds, you've been involved, and absolutely no pun intended, but you've been involved in a few giant killings throughout your career, in a GB shirt, and in your club career as well. You sort of touched on it there, and I know that our head coach is waiting in the wings, so I'll choose my words. But what's the realistic expectations of the Belfast Giants in the Champions Hockey League this year? You're off to, and I'm mispronouncing it, but Otsalari Trinyek, whatever, Czech Extra League Champions back to back. It's a really good league. What do you think the realistic expectations are?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're trying to just sort of give yourself an opportunity to win every game. I mean, you're not going in there. I'm sure the Adam and the coaching staff have maybe a number of games or opportunities where they see a better opportunity to win certain games than others. But I just think you don't want to go out there and lose the game yourself, whether it's by taking bad penalties or mistakes on the defensive side of the puck, or maybe cheating offensively that's going to give away easy goals. Because as we saw last time a few years ago, these teams are deadly and they're very skilled and they play very fast games. And when they get an opportunity to score, they don't make mistakes. So I think not putting yourself in situations to give up easy goals. But I mean, you'll be looking to win every game to give yourself an opportunity to win. I mean, it's hockey and it's very cliche, but on the night, any team can win, and if you get good goaltending and you're good on special teams, you'll be right in the mix.
Well, obviously, we got the poster there from Free Sports about all the Belfast Giants games being covered by Free Sports as they take part in the CHL, and then obviously Premier Sports as well, and all the games have been covered in there. And you've been named as part of the team this season for Premier Sports. One last question for you, Sheds, is do you have a pronunciation guide for the CHL? Are you have you been practicing in front of the mirror?
Well, I've been just starting my research already, and but Murph does such a great job. Last time when we did some stuff with Murph, he's right on the ball. But I've started a little bit of work, and but the funny story was when we were Simon Kitchen and I did, I think, the Spengler Cup or Champions League. There was a couple of tough names in there. And I remember, Simon was doing his thing. Like, oh, great chance down the wing. And what a save by, whoever it was. What a save by Owen. And what do you think there? And I remember just going, yeah, it was a great. And I looked at my sheet and I could just see the pronunciation of the name. And I was like, oh, the speed down the wing by number 9 there. And a great chance.
That guy.
I was just like, there's no chance I'm trying to pronounce this, but a little bit different.
It's a classic.
I'll be making sure to do my homework, and but as I say, Murph does a great job, and there's a reason he's on there, and there's a reason there's so many games that we'll be making sure we give the fans what they deserve and enjoy the presentation.
Fantastic. Well, listen, mate, good luck on the television. No doubt you'll smash it, as you always do. And, enjoy the Champions Hockey League and the Premier Sports games as they go forward. No doubt we'll chat to you later in the season as that goes on.
Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it.
Big thanks to Colin Shields for joining us on that. Yes, those games are all on Premier Sports and, the CHL games are all on Free Sports starting this Friday, of course, and then the home game on Sunday. And then, as I also said, the Premier Sports will be covering the Elite Ice Hockey League as the season goes on. There have been 10 live games announced already, and no doubt more to come. Right. let's talk to the main man. The Belfast Giants roster has been put together. We are on the eve of the verge of the Champions Hockey League. No doubt the excitement is building in the room, so we'll talk to the man in charge. Please welcome back to A View from the Bridge, the head coach of your Belfast Giants, Mr. Adam Keefe. How are you doing, Coach?
Not bad. How are you guys?
Evening, Coach.
Doing really well. Let's first of all, we'll start with Jim Gillespie, as we've been asking questions there. Obviously, really sad, and we've talked about the indelible mark that he's left on our organisation, and a man that you knew very well as well.
Yeah, I think right from day one, I was actually listening backstage there, and as Shedsy said, I think his stamp on this team has lasted the test of time, and has created a culture that just kind of continues to grow year on year. And that's helped by, obviously having Laura Small around the room and around the players or just around the team in general, just to kind of continue that culture. And I think that will last forever. That's kind of what we are. It's what we're about here in Belfast. And it's great that we can kind of bring that right back to, the likes of Jim.
We said earlier in the show, and we'll move over. We said earlier in the show that the culture that he brought and how he molded the team has led to multiple successes. We are a successful club, and one of the successes allows us to go back into the Champions Hockey League in just a few days' time. How, given the build-up in pre-season, how happy are you with what you saw over the last couple of weekends?
Yeah, they're two very different weekends. Your first weekend against the Cardiff Devils, who obviously have become quite a rival of ours, and it was nice to see them, albeit they were short a few players. But if I was to narrow it down and look at just our performance, I was very happy with our performance. Only giving up a goal in each game. That's more what we're looking to do here in Belfast. And then you take a step to our new rival in Dundee this past week, and I think I liked what I saw offensively, and especially the second game. I felt like possession through the first 40 minutes is what we want. Going into the third period, I felt we were just loose, maybe because of that possession, and a bit loose defensively. So not quite. We didn't hold our structure long enough. But I've seen a lot of good things from both weekends combined, and then I think the excitement's about to start building here for the Champions League, and we're as ready as we're going to be, and I think we're excited for it as well.
Coach, I don't know whether you were on when we were talking about the balance on the team there about 10 minutes ago, and I'd said about it. Really love that we've gone with 6 import D. Is that with a view to the Champions Hockey League, or is that something you'll maybe carry into the IHL?
Well, I think options is a good thing to have, and right now we've got a lot of different looks for the lineup. A lot of different things could come into play over in the next couple of weeks in terms of injuries, performances, and which way the lineup stacks for when we get back to the Elite League. But I do like the ability that we do have to change the lineup to have different looks, whether it's 6 import D or 5. We were really planning on having 6 import D and Lewis Hook to come back as well. But, that those plans changed. But, we felt that with the injuries we had last year, we don't want to see a game go by this year where we're playing down imports or down bodies. So, that's kind of why we decided to bring in the imports that we did.
And one thing Shades was kind of talking about there as well was, we're going into the Champions Hockey League, and okay, my expectations are probably 6 wins, or probably a little, that's going to be hard to manage that expectation. But, the last time, or what do you call the team we played in the first game the last time? Oh, jeez. Liberec. Yes, they came in maybe a wee bit expecting a bit of an easier night, and we came at them, a bit of shocking on those first couple of games. Have you plans? Well, obviously, everybody around Europe will be watching this podcast. Don't give away your plans too much, but plans for those first couple of games?
We certainly want to play our style of hockey, which is fast, physical, and aggressive. And we're focused on that exactly, and I think that, something we discussed today at practice was, if we do the things that we want to do well, we're going to be in every game. And, if we're too loose defensively, we're probably going to find ourselves out of games pretty early on, and then that's the challenge. The challenge is to put together a full 60 and make sure that we're competing in these games. And I was listening earlier, and as Shed said, that, once you're in the game, you're in the game, and, anything can happen. We find some scoring, power plays, special teams will be huge in it as well. So discipline's going to be big. But, we're looking to go in and play our game, play our style, and frustrate these teams. I think that we have the capability to do that. We just need to bring it all together here this weekend.
Coach, a lot is made of the difference in styles between sort of Central Europe and the EI being predominantly populated by North American imports. Does the preparation for a game against a sort of more skill-based, maybe less physical team, does it look any different? Do you have kind of tape on Ocelari? And I know I'm pronouncing it wrong, but does that game day prep or the game plan itself, does that change depending on the fact that you're playing these kind of skill teams?
I won't say the name because I don't know it myself, but
the Czech team.
Yeah, I've been watching footage of them and building a little prep video session for the players when we get over there. I think that it's important that it's fresh in the mind. Right now we're essentially in our third week of training camp. The focus is on us, and not so much what they're going to do. We know what we need to do well to compete, and we're going to continue to work on those things this week in practice and talk about them. And then obviously there'll be a few small adjustments before the game based on what we see and how we feel we should make some adjustments going against that team.
And just a quick follow-up, we talked about the makeup of the team this year and the kind of the guys that have come in and the guys that we've lost. You can always, a team dynamic is sort of a holistic thing, but the only real like-for-like replacement on the team is the goaltender. We lost a hell of a goaltender in Tyler Beskorowany, who's decided to hang them up. For my money anyway, I think we're going to see some really, really great stuff from Peyton Jones, and I really like his attitude and his background. How did those conversations come about? How did Peyton Jones end up on your radar?
We're speaking to a number of different goalies throughout the summer, and Peyton was one of them. Obviously, the connection between Peyton and David Goodwin was important for us as well. Speaking to his college coaches, everybody seemed to have really positive things to say about Peyton, including David Goodwin, and that's important to us. Coming from a guy like Goody, and he understands what it takes to win here in Belfast, what it takes to be a Belfast Giant. So those things were important. Obviously, Peyton's a good size. He's an athletic goalie. He works hard. He's a professional. And those are all things that we want here in Belfast. With the loss of Besko, obviously we are losing a very talented guy, arguably one of the best in this league ever. So I think it's obviously a big hole and big shoes to fill for everybody, but that the performance falls on the team, not just Peyton, not just Jackson, the goalies. Everybody's got to perform on the night and make it their job easy. And I thought last season, if we're going to look back, our team did a pretty good job of that for the goaltending, for the goalies. Not to say that the goalies didn't do a great job, because they did. They absolutely made the saves at the right time and kept us in games. But over the course of the season, I thought our work defensively throughout the year was fantastic, and we need to do that again this season. One, to set up our goalies for success, and two, to set us up for success.
The European game and the European aspect of this I find very interesting, because you go back to obviously the last time we played Davos back in 2003, and the Belfast Giants took a win in a very different landscape. But going back to Landshut and the Continental Cup games that we've had, and then our last foray into the I was not Landshut, Joel, I know you're laughing.
I was.
Don't remember being there.
I was there.
And then we go into our last foray into the Champions Hockey League, going to Sweden and back to Czech Republic and to Germany. As a player and a coach, you look at these games. We'll play Dundee 1,000 times, and we'll play Nottingham, and we'll go to Cardiff. How exciting are these games to go into Europe for you as a coach now?
Well, as a player, I absolutely love the Continental Cup. I thought it was a great, tournament away. You almost feel like you're a kid again going away on a tournament, and I thought it was a great team building experience and a very competitive tournament. And then as a coach going into the Champions League, I mean, they do it right, and Champions League is done right. It's a very professional tournament. You feel like there's something bigger on the line. I think that we saw that with that performance against Liberec and Augsburg in the first weekend, with that excitement in the SSE Arena. You felt that from the fan base. You felt that from the team. And I'm looking forward to that again, and I want that excitement to continue to build here throughout this week for this team.
And obviously, your eyes aren't on the Challenge Cup and the league at this point. You're no doubt focused, but from what you see from this team, you're happy with what you got going into that.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I think we certainly have the pieces to have success. It's still very early, so you don't know exactly where guys are going to stack up in the lineup, where the lines will end up, but. We're looking for consistency right now and trying to find guys that are going to consistently give us their best, night in, night out. It's obviously not possible to have everybody's best every night, but we're looking to find that consistency right now and looking to ultimately kind of click defensively. I think that once we do that, I think we'll take off offensively, and you've already started to see some of the possession game come into the last 2 weeks where we were controlling some of the game and starting to make things happen offensively in the O-zone. And, I think we're just going to continue to build on that as we get going. But for me, like I said, the main focus is making sure that we have things tight on the back end.
Before I pass over to Davy, I got one last question. How strange was it to see Jeff Mason on the opposite bench?
Yeah, very different. Obviously, he is one of the guys that's very, very, very tough, if not impossible, to replace here in the organization for what he's done here, not just as a coach, but as a player and as a staff member throughout the whole organization. Mace is definitely missed. He's missed by the organization, the players, myself, probably me, who misses him the most because of what he did for me on the coaching side of things, just as a friend as well. But a great opportunity for him to go and finally tune his craft. And I know that, he strongly got the coaching itch there, I think probably just before the pandemic. And then I know that he spent a lot of the pandemic learning and studying the game, and what a great opportunity for him to go and get that experience behind the bench.
Coach, I know that no matter how successful a season last season was, when it comes to the end of it, it's fatiguing. You're tired. We're tired as fans. You need to break. And it was a very, very short break this year, albeit you probably didn't have a break. We have had a little bit of a break. But it's getting exciting again. It's just days away. I just want to wish you all the very best for the season, but especially this weekend coming up. It's an exciting time to be a Belfast Giants fan again.
Yes, I appreciate that. It certainly was a short summer, and I think that the days clicked away. But now, once you get back into it, we're right back there, and the goal remains the same. We left one on the table last year, and we don't want to be doing that again this year. So, but it starts in training camp. It starts right now. We're already putting those pieces in place and trying to add little building blocks here as we go. And that part is exciting, just to watch the new guys come in and fit in with the returning players. So far, so good. And what a returning core we did end up getting back as well to kind of help that culture along. And I think that has been a massive help to myself and the team, obviously.
Yeah. Well, thanks for your time, Coach. Good luck this weekend, and no doubt we'll speak to you again as the season goes on.
No problem, guys. Have a good one.
Cheers, Coach. Good luck.
Big thanks to Adam Keefe once again.
The
for his
goal
time
remains the same, boys.
The goal remains the same.
Goal remains
Absolutely.
the same. Get that
The
on
Belfast.
a
I'm going to put the Champions Hockey League on. The Champions League music on again. I quite like it.
Yeah, let's go.
It's go time, boys.
We of course.
Come on.
We're of course Belfast have to be in Group H. The Belfast Giants. The Belfast Giants will take on
It's after 10 o'clock, so we're after the watershed. You don't have to start getting on like an arsehole. All right.
I do.
All right, fair enough.
I quite like it.
You both bicker and set to the Champions League music is
the champion. We have opposition from the Czech Republic, opposition from the Sweden, Hitchy Davos from Switzerland, and of course the Belfast Giants in that group. The 2 games this weekend that will take place. The Giants will travel to the Work Arena in how do you say this? Olisari Trinek.
Czech Republic.
I feel really disrespectful because I should have put it. I was on that time, but like it's not as if that their podcast are mispronouncing our name. But yeah, Olisari Trinek.
I heard an audio recording.
Is there one?
Go ahead, David.
What?
You pronounce it?
No, sorry.
I have no idea what's going on now. It's in the Czech Republic is just enough. That's it's fine.
Okay, go on, Joel.
I was gonna say I heard an audio recording from Luke from the league at the weekend there saying the actual.
He's good at the Czech Republic ones.
Yeah, but just rest assured that it's absolutely nothing like what your best guess is because I can't even remember all of the sounds that come out of them. So I've been going
pick it up from whatever Murph says on Friday.
In this, that Davy Gilbert will be called Davy Gilbert, like a West Belfast taxi driver. It's also Larry Trenick.
Also try, but it's like Davy Gilbert. It'd be like Simon Lambert, the guy used to play for the Giants.
Simon Lambert,
just the way it is. But yes, we take on our Czech opposition on Friday at 4 p.m. from the Work Arena, and that will be on Free Sports. And then the Champions Hockey League returns to the SSE Arena in Belfast when the Belfast Giants once again go against HC Davos 3:30 on Sunday, and that is also in Free Sports. Davy, of course, the last time these two sides met, the Belfast Giants were victorious.
Last time these two teams met, I had black hair and you had a comb over. So like, it was a while ago. Let's be honest, it was a while ago. But great memories from back then. And
I wasn't even born.
Really? Actually.
No, he's a chancer.
I was very, very bored.
But we're very lucky. This team, this club, and this era gets to write a new chapter in its history. We write a chapter every year, but what an exciting chapter, right? To be at the very top table of European hockey, and it's been hard fought, and still champions since how long have we been champions now? Years and years.
2019.
2019. So we've earned our place at the top table, and if you get a chance to dine at the top table, eat everything you can while you're there.
Amen.
Here. I think I really enjoyed the game. The game in Augsburg when I went over, and the game against Augsburg in Belfast.
Are you going to any of these ones?
Sadly, not. We've got a kitchen to pay for.
I've just bought a house, so unfortunately.
If I told you, Paddy,
go on,
that we can go to Sweden for 122 quid return, you still not fancy it?
I absolutely do fancy that. That's an October.
Let's chat offline. Let's chat offline.
Why is it just you two?
If you can get the England mate, you can come for 122 quid.
Oh yeah, I always forgot about that.
You've got an extra hop.
Now I've got to open negotiations. But yes, the Champions Hockey League is exciting for what it is. And we'll no doubt these games will be fantastic. If you can get down to the SSE Arena on Sunday, listen, I don't need to tell you, get yourself down there. You will enjoy what you see and shout for your Belfast Giants against HC Davos. The chance to see a side of that caliber is all too rare. Any other business, boys?
Sorry, obviously we haven't mentioned the tremendous job that Laura Small, Kiefer, who's probably still watching, along with the players, everybody around the arena did for Ethan and Team McLean at the weekend.
Absolutely.
There, it was a really, really beautiful moment to see Ethan live out his dream of being a Belfast Giant. 4 goals on his debut, and took them all in his stride. It was just a really touching, lovely moment. And Ethan and the family have been around our community now for quite a few years, and everybody knows the story very well. And obviously, it's sadly something that is developing because of the nature of Ethan's illness. So what a special thing for everybody to take time out to do, and do very gladly as well. I think it put smiles on a lot of faces and did a lot for everyone. But it was really, really special to see, and just a tip of the cap to, once again, I mean, we've talked about Jim all night, Laura Small carrying on that legacy day by day, the stuff that you don't even see, carrying on that tradition of good work and of putting smiles on faces and of creating memories and doing special things for deserving people. And as long as Smallsy's there doing that, Jim's alive and well in the Belfast Giants. And just great to see.
A one-time View from the Bridge Player of the Month, sponsored by Photocab, was Ethan McLean,
True.
and showing on Saturday exactly what he can do with the puck.
Brilliant.
Yeah. And I've only one quick thing. Last year's Rainer Razor obviously went pretty well. Going to be doing something this year. I need to actually talk to Rainer before I put anything out in public there. We're going to have a little tweak on it, and we'll have a different Northern Ireland-based charity to go with it. So if you keep an eye on my Twitter, what is my Twitter?
At Davy underscore
Davy
McG.
and at AVFTB. There'll be something coming up very, very soon because I want to get it going before the weekend, hopefully. So I need to talk to Simon Kitchen, to Laura Small, the Rainer, put a few things in place. But there will be an opportunity for us to raise some money again this season for local charity. I'd love your support. I know it's a very, very difficult time for people in the current economic climate. And that is why we're going to try and do something, hopefully, for elderly people with this economic climate in mind. Get money into people's pockets. So if you can afford just to give a few shekels out, we'll be happy to redirect them to really good causes and have a bit of fun along the way. So please support where you can.
Good man. Keep a view at that AVFTB and at Davy underscore McG, and we'll keep you up to date on the what that is when it gets put in place. Nice one, Davy. One last quick one from me. Just a quick thanks, obviously, to Neil Whiteside for what is our new intro for here on our live streams.
Wonderful.
The man's a genius. He always is. He always does fantastic work. So we really appreciate that. Also, quick thanks to Sinead Doyle, who's moving on from the Belfast Giants for what she's done for helping with the View from the Bridge over the last year, and looking forward to working with the likes of Chantel and Tams and Anne and Neve and all these guys. Behind the scenes, as the season goes on. But big thanks to Sinead for what she's done in the last year. The Belfast Giants are back in competitive action. We're really looking forward to seeing it. Off to the Czech Republic, 4 p.m. The game is on Friday in the CHL. You'll see that on Free Sports with Murph, Paul Eddie, and of course our own Colin Shields, before travelling back. The game on Sunday, 3:30 p.m. at the SSE Arena, also on Free Sports against HC Davos. Big thanks to Colin Shields and to Adam McKendry, and of course the head coach Adam Keefe for their time. Gentlemen, it's good to see you.
Thank you, boys. Good to be back.
Let's go.
Let's go.
You can get us.
The goal remains the same.
The goal remains the same. I like that's a great
Let's
line.
Go.
The at AVFTB on Twitter, kingdomofthegiants.com. You can get us on Facebook, Instagram, and I think that's about it, really. You get us on all your podcast providers, on YouTube, on Twitter, and of course on Facebook for our live stream. This is the first one of 30 odd, boys, so strap yourselves in. It's another long season for the Belfast Giants, but that's what success brings. And wherever you are this weekend, we hope you enjoy the Champions Hockey League. We'll catch you here next time on A View from the Bridge. Bye.